Also, Barney's Coffee. They are the ones providing us with our caffeinated mornings here. And today we'll be having Teeps presenting us with their app. I'm not missing anything, right? All right, so let's start then. All right, and don't leave after the presentation. We have Jared as well. So come on up. Let's see. All right.
Awesome. How's everyone doing this morning? Great. I guess I'm up at this time occasionally, but I'm really excited to be here. I've come once before. I think it was back at the East End Market. So I'm glad to be back. And Angela reached out to us yesterday at 5 p.m. So kind of last minute thing here, but we're going to do our best and just engage with you guys today. Talk a little bit about what we do and then show you a little bit about a product that we built. But a little background on myself. My name is Joshua. I'm the co-founder of Teeps. We are a mobile development consultancy here in Orlando, actually here in Winter Park. So our clients hire us to build their mobile products for iOS and Android. And it was actually 12 months ago, Terrence and I, just by ourselves in an apartment working on one project. Since then, we've grown to a team of 11 and have built over 30 mobile apps. So it's been an explosion. It's been very exciting. And big part of our success has been to the community here in Orlando, the powerful entrepreneurship, I would say, movement that's taking place not only out here in the community in general, but more specifically where it affected us was on campus at UCF. And so if anyone has any mobile development needs, just let us know. That's my consulting side of things. And now I'm going to go to our product. So this is something we actually built of our own, and it is called Fabric. I've been made aware I have a laser pointer, so I will probably use it. So Fabric is an app we built for iOS and Android. And I think with any product, you usually want to start with the problem, of course. So the problem was we noticed students want to start things. They want to start their own businesses. They want to start their own projects and be creative. And sometimes these ideas require more skills than what they currently have themselves. And I got this idea while working at the Blackstone Launchpad at UCF. I was lucky enough to be hired on as a consultant to coach students with their businesses. And I literally coached a rocket scientist. He came in, he's saying all these things that I have no idea what he's talking about. And as you can assume, though, he wasn't very good at marketing. So I thought, how can we pair him with someone that could take this other aspect of his business idea and complement each other? There were graphic designers who had wonderful talent, but no work, no projects to design for, and businesses that needed a logo. And I thought, there has to be a way to connect these people. Quickly, there's over 1,000 registered student ventures at UCF through this Launchpad program. That's almost 7 months old, so I'm imagining it's much more than that. So what we decided to do was build Fabric, and what it essentially does is lets you log into the app and you can click on a skill set, an area where you need help. So if, for example, let's do it through the pointer. I need some help with blogging. If I click blogging, I'll see a list of every student at UCF on the platform that has that skill set associated with their profile. So here, you can basically see just kind of picking which area you need assistance with. And for example, we have Terrence Donnelly. So his skills here are listed, and I can actually tap and have a conversation with him. So what we've noticed is that simple conversation often can spark a lot of creativity and a lot of great things because there wasn't really that platform for this type of connection. And actually, since we started in September, we have hundreds of students who have downloaded the app. We've had a handful of students who started their businesses by finding co-founders directly through the platform, which is fantastic. One is a podcast that focuses on startups, and they interviewed us and let us know, hey, you guys built this app, and we built our business because of it. So very powerful, really cool. And I guess probably the unique thing about Fabric is that it's a closed network. So unless you're a UCF student, you are unable to access the platform. And we really wanted to do that to keep it closed and protected from outside influence. Primarily recruiters or other people who would like to solicit the students, we thought giving them a protected area to work together was going to provide and develop some really great things. So since then, we've had, I want to say, we started with about 50% retention. So most apps we build for our clients are around 5 to 10. So Fabric had half its user base on the app every single day, which was really, really interesting. And this was Terrence and I's version of a minimum viable product. We built this in 3 weeks. We threw it together, we put it out there, 0 marketing dollars, and we saw instant success. And so now we're really working on developing the way to open this up to every school in the nation. There's about 4,000 that we could open it up to with a few lines of code. And that's kind of in the roadmap. So let's see. That's it. This is our team at the time, and we built this, and that's about it. I think we'll open up to questions. I'll bring Terrence up. He's the technical guy here, but I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Cool. Sure. Yeah. Anybody have any technical questions?
Technical questions for this guy.
Is it on? Oh, it's on. Okay. Yeah. Any technical questions? Yeah, you over there.
Hi, MIT, their student group had a Bitcoin incentive type thing, and MIT's become a hub for launching Bitcoin amongst students and the technical aspects. Are you doing anything either remotely or more acutely towards Bitcoin?
No, nothing with Bitcoin. I think at some point we were having requests to add monetization into the app where people could pay students could pay other students for services rendered and have some kind of billable time in there. If somebody didn't want to particularly start a venture with somebody, they may be able to pay with some kind of cryptocurrency at some point. But as of now, we didn't actually consider Bitcoin. That's a good point.
Okay. There's a lot of technology behind that too that I
Absolutely.
think at any college they'd be interested in. But okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Raise your hand with questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
How long do you guys want to stay at UCF? And then when do you want to venture out into more schools, universities? I know you said long term, but just kind of picking your brain.
Sure, that's a great question. We could have opened it up to several schools, even just right here in Central Florida, and we thought let's do a really good job at one, get a lot of feedback, and thankfully we had a lot of connections there to get some decision makers to tell us what they need. For us right now, I think for us to invest a lot of resources and time, we do want a monetization strategy that makes sense for the students too, that isn't invasive or unnecessary. So we're looking into licensing this to universities as a community platform tool. And thankfully, I don't know if I can say this, but I will. University of Central Florida, I have 2 colleges that are showing interest, which is really awesome. It's just a matter of making it valuable enough for that other piece. Yes, thanks. Yep.
I was going to ask if it makes you money and how, and I think you just answered that.
Yeah, we had the idea of, there's a few things. It could be, we thought about a resources tab where local businesses that would offer services to students maybe cheaper, we could have them have access or something within the app. That didn't sound too scalable. We thought about letting, in the future, recruiters jump in there with ability to access all these students. We didn't like that one either. So we think the universities is the way to go. Yep. Oh. Hey.
Hi. So I wanted to know what other vertical markets you're considering long term, because I could see this going across political, campaigning, tech organizations like ours all trying to network and create.
Yeah, I think one of the things we were thinking about in the very beginning was how many different markets this could be applied to. And so we built it in such a way that we can actually white label it very quickly. So we can white label it for almost any kind of application needed. So whether it's a political campaign or anything like that, we can quickly turn it around in probably a few days, white label it, and rebox it.
Yeah, right here. Your idea is amazing. It's great. I was thinking, I know of people they have ideas that they want to they want to come along and try it out. They don't have the skill set, so this seems perfect. What I'm seeing, though, is that they might think, like, I'm going to talk with somebody, and they might steal my idea and run a... Because you don't really know who's at the end of the... So what would you say to somebody...
Sure. The first thing I would say to somebody is if you need an NDA, ask for it, and don't tell anyone your proprietary idea until they sign it. But that's a really good point. I think that adding that functionality into the app with maybe a standard non-disclosure agreement would actually be really interesting, and having them be able to sign off digitally. So.
Hey, good morning. So, you know, you mentioned that I guess your real value is in the exclusivity of the network. You know, that's basically where Facebook's value really hit, and then they opened it up and they saw a big decline in their value. Are you thinking about the capability to switch between these public and private networks via like social linking? So, you know, if someone can integrate their LinkedIn profile and switch to an open network, maybe recruit people or more people tell people about your app, and then bring more people into this closed network if they qualify. Have you thought about those avenues?
We have a little bit, and we were trying to think about. I mean, one immediate roadblock we had was faculty at UCF said, "Hey, I'd like to use your app, but I can't even look at it." And so we're like, "Okay, we have to have some protections for entry, but also figure out how to also, I guess, branch out." And LinkedIn integration has been like the #1 request across the board. I specifically thought in the beginning that students don't use LinkedIn, and so we didn't have some kind of API integration, and I immediately realized that was a huge assumption that I blew. Every student at my last workshop raised their hand. They have a LinkedIn, they update it regardless of when they're graduating, and they preferred to have some kind of connection there. And so we're exploring what the best way to do that, how to do that the best, and then ultimately open it up maybe to people who aren't necessarily directly on campus.
So I have, it's not really a question, it's more of an idea for you, and I'm hoping someone in here will know who I'm talking about. But last week we had a new attendee. He's out of Starter Studio. You
cool.
guys familiar?
Yes, absolutely.
And he's developing what you just said, integrated NDAs, integrated legal functionality that can be digitally signed. So if you're thinking about that, head that way. I don't know if anyone remembers this gentleman's name, maybe Mark. So, but connect with some of us. So just an idea.
Cool.
If that's on the platform, there's a guy here doing it locally for you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, can you tell me what your marketing strategy is at UCF? Last week I met a junior who's at UCF who is in the process of bringing French fry vending machines to America. And
Delicious.
Delicious.
well, I don't know. So I'm just curious as to what your marketing strategy is to the students.
Yeah, so when I worked at the Launchpad, it was actually pretty interesting, and this is going to be really lame. The writing was on the wall for how valuable this was going to be, and pretty organically, because students were writing on the whiteboard, on the wall, literally, Josh, app development, here's my number. And so when we actually do a push, I think we're focusing on probably entrepreneurship, students that have that as either a track that they're following through school, or just connecting in those channels. The good thing, my immediate thought is there are 14 other launch pads around the nation, and UCF has the highest volume of any university. So all these launch pad, directors have flown into Orlando to meet with Pam Hosel and Dr. Ford to kind of pick their brain. How do you get 4,000 students to show up over the semester for coaching appointments? So my first marketing strategy would be to market to those directors and ask them, hey, at UC Irvine, how do you think this could spread on campus? I think does that answer your question? Cool.
This may be a good idea or not, but since you're targeting a very tight geographic area, do you have a geo feature that says, I'm also available to meet with you, and here I am?
We don't, but that's actually something we get requested a lot. So yeah, as far as actually, we thought about closing it off with geolocation as well. If you're not within a certain zip code, maybe closing it. But the way that we actually handled that was if you don't have a UCF specific student email, then you just can't even sign up. But yeah, as far as the meeting with people nearby, that's actually something that we get requested quite often. So that might be getting built in.
Right here. I'm a little bit curious about maybe the risk involved with hiring someone through that platform. How would I upfront know if their skills are valid, or is there any way for me to track their work history within the app or anything like that? There
isn't currently, but I think that's a testament to why we need to have LinkedIn integration so that we can actually pull in endorsements. And then I think we're also exploring the option of putting in peer reviews. So if you work with somebody, you can, kind of give them some kind of points or rating over time.
Okay. I see this as something that when you want this monetized, opening this up to the people with money will be a key. And mentors, there's somebody that is on the road, they're just down the road. And when you're closing that loop down to a limited size of X number of years, how far down the road can they be? And so you have IQ, RQ, SQ, EQ, and GQ. GQ is your gut quotient. And the more experience you have, the higher your GQ is going to be. The more experience you have relating with people, the higher your RQ, your relational quotient, is going to be. So there's all these things. So I see that this is a powerful platform that when you're ready to open it up to the real world, like Facebook, where did it start? Limited scope, limited vision, because I really see that you guys have something very powerful.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that's really awesome, and I think, we're excited to see what it kind of grows into, and we are open to opening it up. We just want to make sure we use the right strategy. I appreciate the feedback.
Okay, first of all, the GQ is the look, and you guys got that. So I'm messing with you. I have an unrelated question. What is Teeps? Where did that come from?
Sure.
Why? I mean, I love the product, love the thing, but if you're gonna present it as a company,
sure.
Why?
Sure. So Teeps is basically our business. We're a mobile app development consultancy. But the name comes from, and I'm reluctant to tell people this because it's my childhood nickname, and he made me use it. I told him, I said it's narcissistic, but he he wanted to go with it because he said it's memorable, and he was right, because we've had a few people contact us 6 months after they originally looked for an app developer, and they said, hey, I just remembered the name Teeps off the top of my head, and so that credit goes to this guy. He nailed it. So.
Nice nickname.
So I know several people kind of touched on this, but it's kind of a suggestion kind of thing. I studied entrepreneurship at the University of Iowa, and as we were creating that center there with a bunch of people that had gone out and done it at these other amazing entrepreneurial things, so it was kind of a unique experience. But on the one side, I definitely see the value of what you're doing. But as an entrepreneur coming up, when we would get invited to say a business plan competition or something like that, the expertise that we needed for something like that was maybe at the graduate school level, maybe even above that. And I'm wondering if there's maybe room to do something where you kind of partner with the school to say to the faculty, hey, do you have people that are business professionals that you would recommend that have agreed to, severely discount or just give their time as advisors and that kind of a thing, because that's the piece that, you guys have the great first step, and I really don't want to push down on it at all, and when you have a student-run organization, the reason why many of them fail is because they live in that bubble that's academia, and it sounds awesome there, but then as soon as they step out, the real world kind of pops the bubble. And what I found was a lot of times those people that were willing to give that time, there are very few of them, so you won't have a lot of them to manage, but those people were able to kind of shrink us down a little bit into reality and focus our efforts so that we were more successful. And so that's the only piece I would give you. I mean, I understand not wanting to totally open it up to everybody, but really to serve those organizations, so many of them fail because they sit on the campus and they go, wow, this would be cool. But the market that thinks it would be cool usually doesn't have the money to buy their product.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's super important. Teeps actually, our success, as I mentioned, was a lot of the mentorship, which is I think you're kind of referencing, and that's even, many of you know, I'm sure, Greg Pollack with Code School, Ted Murphy with IZEA. These are community partners that took the time that I can't pay for to say, hey, don't screw this up by doing this. I did before. And I think Fabric is more for early stage, just at the idea level, that they need to do the business model canvas and need to do some testing. But then if they have an idea that can start to get traction, they're going to need some input. So that's a great recommendation, and we're exploring that.
Any other questions? Come on, raise your hand. Okay, well, in the spirit of 1 million cups, we always ask our final question, and what is it that the community can do for you today to help promote or advance your business?
I would say...
Come on, have you not watched our videos? Have you not come? We always ask the question. It shouldn't be a surprise.
Toughest for last.
You have 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds.
For me, I'll let you go in the last 15. For me, it's just to come up and find me. I'd love to network with you guys and build real relationships with you guys. I think those are the things that can help me in ways I probably don't even know right now. And Terrence?
Yeah, any suggestions that we may have not heard, feel free to approach us and say that, give us your input. So that's all I have.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, for those of you who are new to 1 Million Cups, we have a slightly different format today. Usually we'd go till 10. That's not going to happen today, unfortunately. So this is completely abnormal. I did want to say a special thank you to all our co-organizers. We all are volunteers. We all run on hugs and tweets. So actually, we have Ron over there typing away. Stephanie here in front. Where did Jan go? Oh, right next to Stephanie. I get Jan. Angela is. I think Nancy's still with us, right? Nancy's behind the camera somewhere in Kansas City, watching the live stream. I'm Dave. I tend to do the technical side. Yes, my name's Dave. I've been a 1 Million Cupser for years. But anyway, so thank you all for coming. Please stick around for a few more minutes. We have a special speaker, Jared, and I actually would like you all to come even closer so we can get lots of heads in the frame here. So Jared, give me 1 second before you start.